Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to make a video really quick. This guy, Aaron, he said, "Hey Redder, I've been following your tutorials on YouTube how to use Matrix Eater, but I can't seem to find a way to save a unit-specific animation as a model with a little bit of editing. For example, the ghost thingies that wander around the undead Necropolis when it trains a unit. He wants to extract it. Is that possible?" So we got Matrix Eater on my taskbar down here. We're going to open this up. Let's do what he's saying. We're going to get, we just go to undead, we click on Necropolis. Boom. So we got this guy. Now what you want to do is go through your geosets. We probably don't need any geosets. So if you guys know that little ghost thing, I gotta open World Editor. Wait a second, I gotta open World Editor. Warcraft 3 World Editor. World Editor. What is this folder? This is not what we want. We want Warcraft 3 World Editor. World Editor. Alright, here we go. We got World Editor. So, you guys know, maybe you know this, maybe you don't. If you look at the Necropolis, and you go in here, we're going to go to the unit, we're going to go to the Necropolis. We're going to tell him that he does stand work. So we're going to put work in here. What that'll mean now is, once it registers... Oh, I typed in Necro, went to Necromancer. Okay, Necropolis, stand work. There we go, we'll shake it a little bit, get it running. There you go, you got these little ghosts going, right? So if you want these ghosts as a separate model, all you need to do is separate the ribbon emitter. It's a node called a ribbon emitter. And we have this stand work animation, which is an animation that contains a bunch of movement data where this ribbon emitter, in order for it to go in a circle like that, it means that the ribbon emitter is set to be a child node of a center node that's doing rotation. So there's something in the center like that it's stuck to that's spinning, and it causes it to spin because it's linked to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a model that contains only the center spinning node and the ribbon emitter outside. And we'll probably keep both of these ribbon emitters, so we'll have a model that'll be two swirling ghosts. So to do that, that's pretty simple to do. We just go in here, we click Show Pivot Points, and we can start to look at like what are the nodes. So a lot of times I instinctively do this show active geoset nodes here. Let's move my Matrix Eater a little bit. So we got it over here, so we can click things and click in the space at the same time. So we want the object names, but actually realistically, what we want to do is find ghosts, like ghost 0, and there's probably a ghost 1, and I guess we probably don't even need to really find them graphically too much. So let's save a file here. I'm going to call this the Necro Ghosts, and this will be the Necro Ghosts model. So for this, we're going to use edit delete model components. Which what I did here, the reason this feature is a bit odd, is it's running an import into a new model that's empty, and it allows you to remove things from the model very cleanly. Because my import code was something I spent a lot of time on, but a lot of the rest of the program is not written as well or as intelligently. So by importing into nothing, you can really easily delete stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of, we'll just click Leave All on the geosets. So all of the geometry, like all of the shape, everything in this guy that's just like physical shapes that render will be taken away. So we're just going to have a bunch of animation data now. And what we're going to do is we're going to say leave all on all of the animations except the stand work where we have these little spinning ghosts. And so for that, we'll tell it to import. What it's actually doing is it's importing into an empty space, into nothing. And we'll change the name. We'll say stand. So what that's going to do is it's going to make it no longer needs to be called stand work. We'll just always see those ghosts, right? Then we'll skip a few. So I skipped bones and matrices tabs. I went straight to objects. We're going to look in the objects here, and we're going to say, what are those ghosts? Those are ribbon emitters. So we know we have here the type of node, and we have the name. The types of these nodes is ribbon emitter, and there's two ribbons, and we know it's the two that are spinning around, so it has to be those two. So what we're going to do is we're going to select everything except those two ribbons, and then we're going to uncheck the import box on it. So we will have nothing in this model except for two ribbon nodes, which parent to ghost 0 and ghost 1. So then you have to ask yourself, what are we going to do about bones? Now, sometimes you can do bones pretty easily, like in this case, there's very few. But if we uncheck unused, it does it for us. and it figures out the Ghost 0 and Ghost 1 are the center nodes that are spinning, causing the ribbons that are sort of bound to those center nodes to sort of orbit because the center is spinning and the ribbons are children of the center. So what I'm effectively doing is I'm telling this to remove, because I did uncheck unused, and there's no longer any rendered geometry, any of that stuff. It gets rid of all the animation nodes except for the 2 ghosts. So we just have the 2 ghosts. You'll see everything else is set to do not import, which effectively means delete now, except for the 2 ghosts that are set still to import. And if you look here at the ribbons, you can see that they are still parented to those, so they'll still spin and effectively orbit the spinning bone nodes. And then we can go to visibility. This should be pretty easy. This should just inherit, so it should already be visible if everything's good. So we actually don't need to do anything here. So we'll click Finish, and this will have generated Necro Ghosts 1. Now it looks like an empty model, but that's because this Matrix Eater software doesn't know how to render ribbon emitters, right? I never coded that. So, but it'll tell you that they're here. So you can see that there are 2 ribbons, and that there are 2 sort of these root helper nodes, Ghost 1 and Ghost 0, that the ribbons will be spinning around. So then if we save this as a binary, so we can put it in the world editor. So we'll save this as like Necro Ghosts 2, give it some name that we're sure we know what it is. You should be able to just import that straight into Warcraft 3 on Warcraft models, Necro Ghost 2. And we'll save the map. You can give it any map name you want, right? Documents, Warcraft maps, Necro Ghosts model test, right? Just give it anything. Save it a couple times to make sure models load, because that code sometimes is buggy or whatever. And then you should be able to see this model, right? That is, we've created a model that's literally just those Necro Ghosts from that animation, and all it does is it constantly loops them standing there, right? So we could make that, you could use that as a spell effect, or you could use it as a doodad. We could take like the fire doodad, right? You could take that and you could change the model file to be these Necro Ghosts, and you could call this Ghosts. And then what you could do is you could go into like the doodad palette, and you could place Ghosts, right? And you could start to place a lot of these if you want like a lot of Ghosts, right? And you can move them in the air or something. Turn off the info display so you can see them, right? And literally all of these, like it's just those 2 ghosts from the Necropolis, but we've separated them out to their own models. So I don't know if you have like you could do something fun with that, right? If you give like stand channel animation to like a lich or something, you could go in get a custom character, have him like channel in the middle of that. Maybe it'd look pretty cool, But literally all we did is we just took the Necropolis ghosts, right? And they're just, now it's a doodad. That's just a doodad of Necropolis ghosts. And you can do that with almost anything, right? Like you can just take a piece out of a model. And generally that should tend to be pretty easy. So this has been a tutorial. Hopefully that'll stick with you how to do that. You can do the same process with particle emitters. You can do the same process with small chunks of 3D mesh, right? If you wanted like the pouring water that pours off the side of the Necropolis, then it's actually not the Necropolis, the Halls of the Dead, right? If you get like Halls of the Dead, like this pouring water, you could have that pouring water. You could make that into a doodad. Very, very similar process. You'd have to delete a little bit in the viewfinder here because it's 3D mesh, and it's probably true that water is sort of linked to other geosets or something. But generally speaking, the concept of deleting things should tend to be pretty easy. And if it ever is not working for you, you can probably talk to like me or someone who should be able to help you figure that out, because it should work. And you can have a cool looking guy like this guy. Get yourself some ghosts, some various other components, or whatever you need. So I hope you have a good day.